we do want to tell you that SEC investigators are proposing sanctions against at least 5 former executives and brokers for Stanford Group Holdings. So commissioners could vote as soon as next week whether or not they're going to be punished in the alleged $7 billion Ponzi scheme. Megan Hughes is in Washington. She has all the details. Megan.
Deirdre, it could be as soon as Thursday. And now this is coming from 2 sources familiar with the investigation. It's a Bloomberg exclusive. We've learned 5 former executives and brokers have been reviewed by SEC investigators. That includes Bernard Young, a former regulator who later became Stanford's chief compliance officer back in 2006. Now, this comes more than 2 years, almost 3 years after the agency sued R. Allen Stanford and indicted him on 21 criminal counts, alleging that he used his Houston-based brokerage to sell bogus CDs for his Antigua-based banking unit. Now, what's different here and what we're learning today, the SEC is now targeting top sales, compliance executives, and brokers who sold large volumes of these CDs. SEC investigators claim that the brokers didn't look into red flags, things like above-market returns promised on the CDs or the outsized commissions that were offered to brokers for selling them. So in some ways, this is a legal test. This could be a huge precedent. Can the SEC sanction brokers for failing to conduct due diligence on in-house products? If they find yes, they can potentially sue another 100 ex-Stanford brokers. Now, the enforcement actions against these 5 may mean clawing back sales commissions. It may bar them from the industry, and that's what they're expected to vote on, again, as soon as Thursday.
And I mean, Megan, what is the update on Stanford himself?
He is still being held without bail. He's still waiting trial. He's 61 years old. He's denying the fraud charges. His trial was actually set for January 23rd, but he's requesting it be delayed another 3 months after his expert witnesses quit because they weren't being paid. Also worth pointing out, his former accountants and heads of finance and investment are also still facing charges.
And the SEC, we know, getting a lot of criticism around this case, which is actually not new for the SEC. Is there something different, though, here?
A lot of it has to do with the timing here. This has been a black eye in some ways for the SEC. They've been criticized by Stanford customers, also lawmakers, for not getting involved in this sooner. The SEC Inspector General actually found the probe started in 2005. Examiners suspected fraud 8 years before that. 8 years.
Megan, thank you so much. Megan Hughes joining us there from D.C.